I came all this way. We'll stay in a little longer. Whew. Anytime we go somewhere, well, especially if we're going into the mountains, you know, it's like, okay, the water's going to be colder. It's going to be coming off the runoff typically. And I always try to find a good spot to plunge. It's toasty warm out, so it shouldn't be a hard, tough deal. And actually, there was one year where I did this event up at my buddy Tosh's, and it was in the summertime, but we did this stupid thing where we were running 2 miles on the hour until everyone quit. And I had to stop because of my knee. My knee was so swollen. And so I was like, oh man. And I drove down to the bottom of the hill. He lives up at like 9,000 foot in Netherlands. And I went down to that bottom of his road, that goes up to his house. And they have that creek runs right there. And I jumped in. Even in the middle of summer, it was pretty cold, but it felt so good. When I was, when my kids were a little younger, I was getting sick constantly. Like every month, I felt like I was getting a cold or the flu or sinus infections. And so I decided, I was just kind of like, what's wrong with my immune system? What's going on? Obviously, I know I'm being exposed to more kids because my kids are coming home from school, being with all their little buddies who are just basically germs at that age. And I was still training really hard, and so my immune system was beat down from that. And so I just had to try to figure something out. And I read about Wim Hof, and kind of started digging into his theory behind cold exposure and his breathing techniques and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I always hated cold water. When I was in the military, I did not like getting in the cold water. It was the thing I hated the most. And so for two reasons, I like to plunge. Right, one, I think it does help my immune system. Ever since I started doing it, I do feel like I've gotten sick less, and I can't describe it. But before I even started to realize, oh dang, look at all these deer. Oh, those are muleys. Those had some big old ears. So immune system, and then before I knew what it was doing, people would ask me why I do it, and I would tell them when you get out of the cold tub, the way you feel for the next 30 minutes to an hour is the best mood you'll ever be in. And then these other doctors like Dr. Rhonda Patrick and Peter Attia and Andrew Huberman, they all started kind of putting out the research basically saying that your brain is letting out all this norepinephrine and all these great hormones that basically put you in the best mood ever when you do a cold plunge. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel when I get out for the next 30 minutes. And I just loved it. I loved waking up and being like, so I wake up and I go straight out of my bed into the cold tub. It's the first thing I do before I do anything else. And then I'll come in and make my coffee. And for the first year I did it, I was just like, I feel so good. And I'm like so happy when I'm right out of the cold tub. And so that's why when anybody tells you that cold water doesn't do anything for you, they're like, oh, it just makes you cold. I'm like, I know you haven't done it, because if you did, you would feel the exact same way that I feel, where you're in such a good mood. You're so happy. You definitely feel like you have less inflammation in your body. So a lot of good benefits and there's a lot of research out there now. You're obviously not supposed to do it post-training, which is something that everyone was doing if you're trying to actually have muscle growth, like hypertrophy training, because you want the inflammation in your body, the inflammation response from lifting heavy weights. So I don't do it post-workout anymore. There for a little while, I used to do it a little bit. And I think if you're just doing cardio or long runs, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, because I'll tell you what, if I go on a long run and my joints are hurting and I get in a cold tub, I feel a lot better. So I don't care what anybody says. I'll still do it there. Coming down like an old man. Ooh. The big sandy beaches. Oh, I miss it. It's like we're back in California. Toasty warm. All right, here we go. We're up at Carter Lake in North Denver, and we're gonna get in some nice toasty warm water. I mean, look, is that snow? So we're getting in Carter Lake, but the best part about doing a little toasty warm, you know, this is like a jacuzzi right here. I can see the smoke coming off, steam coming off, but you just gotta get in. You can't sit and think about it, you know, just start your clock and get in for however long or whatever. And the best part about it being out in the wild like this is this, it's just so nice. It's so scenic. Why? How could you not want to get in this water? Just calling your name. The coldest I've ever done one is I did one up in Lake McDonald, which is in Glacier National Park, and it was the coldest I'd ever been. But it was like 10 degrees out. So when you got out of the water, it was cold. My hands were freaking, I remember like how long it took my hands to come back. I was like, oh, that can't be good. I don't think I even need this. All right. Yeah, this is good. Oh yeah. That's a good one. Oh yeah. This is good. Something about being out in nature makes it feel so much better, so much easier. I bet this is like low 40s if I had to guess. Ooh. Oh yeah. Whew. Oh man. It's nice. It's like sand on your feet, not rocky, not slipping. Ooh-wee. It'd be interesting to swim across this bad boy. Some glass, like glassy water. It's pretty. Oh, feels good.
2 minutes.
There we go. Came all this way. We'll stay on a little longer. Oh yeah. Woo! That's a cold one. Oh, when you start to feel like the muscles start to get real tight. Yeah, that's good. Definitely a little different than in the plunge at home. Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Nice and toasty warm, just like I thought. Now you gotta rewarm. Get some socks on. I'm not at home where I get to walk in my house and just make my cup of coffee anymore. That might have been colder than low 40s. Now that I'm feeling myself, my actual body. I bet it's upper 30s. I've always been a shiverer, so I'm not ashamed. I'll shiver if I need to. When you just don't have when you're like low body fat, it's like, you know, it's typically gonna be. I'd always find the two biggest guys in Bloods and like, just hold me close, boys. But it does feel good. It's cool. It's cool that like you see all these people like, you know, starting to find this little thing that helps them in a lot of different ways. I I mean, they say the dopamine response is like, oh, those muleys are still there. The dopamine response from getting in a cold plunge like that is like 200%, and it lasts for like 3 to 4 hours. Damn, that was a big old buck. Yeah, for sure. It definitely has some, resilience training, right? I mean, it's not fun for anybody to get in cold water and sit there and he's like, oh yeah, I'm freezing, like I'm turning into a cold beer right now.
Are you a New Year's resolution guy?
I'm not a New Year's resolution guy at all. Like, if I decide to do something, it doesn't matter what day, what month, what time of year it is. It's like I'm going to do it and just knock it out. There's no reason to put it off until the end of the year. I always have goals, and a date doesn't define when I will start my goal. So for some people it's great. Hey, if it's what you like, if it's something for you, hey, the new year you're going to start new, whatever, that's great if it works for you. But for me, it's like, why delay it? Why put the goal off? Why wait until the new year to start something when I know I want to do it? I might as well just start right now. So just something I've always done. I don't need a time or a day or a year to tell me when to go after my goal or change something that I want to change in myself. Yeah, so if you're looking to go do a cold plunge, there's lots of different ways to do it, right? You don't have to go find the coldest lake. Obviously, it's fun. It's nice to be out in nature, cold stream. Cold showers are a great way to start, if you haven't done it yet. There's obviously horse troughs, really easy way to get into a cold plunge, right? You fill it up with water and ice. You can make your own ice. You don't have to buy the $3,000-$4,000 cold plunges that are out there now. You can get what a lot of people did. How I started was with a chest freezer. You caulk. There's YouTube videos on how to basically set it all up. But yeah, you can go out and get like a $400 chest freezer from Home Depot, Lowe's, or something. So lots of different ways to do it. But I truly believe that getting in the cold helps a lot of different things, right? Your mental toughness, your immune system, your brain, your mental, just awake, alert, happy, feel great. So lots of good reasons to get out there and get in the cold plunge. So go give it a shot if you haven't done it yet. Have a buddy maybe go with you, and go get after it, and don't forget to pay the man.